welcome to Bluescreen Bronies, episode 20, bringing to you on Sunday the 10th. Lovely night. I hope we're recording this ahead of time here, so meteors could rain from the sky. EA could actually launch a game that doesn't suck. I'm Draco.
I'm D-Pad.
And I'm Viral. And Draco, I'm not holding my breath on the EA thing.
That's okay, you're holding your breath because you're on pain pills from having surgery.
That's besides the point. Ooh, that wall is blue.
Let's go ahead and talk about the PlayStation 4 a little bit. New details were released. The PlayStation DualShock 4 was announced before anything, so we got to see that hardware, but strangely not the console.
They're not going to show you all their cards at once. This is Sony we're talking about.
Xbox isn't even going to do anything until freaking E3, so who cares?
Yep, pretty much.
The PS4 is going to use PhysX, which is an NVIDIA chip, and that means that ATI is mad and AMD is going to pout in the corner now.
Yeah, they might just give Xbox a better deal, just to spite Sony.
If AMD could actually keep up anymore.
Well, here's the problem. They're basically doing what everybody thought they would do and gimmicking it right out of the freaking start. The controller has a light on the front, which can be tracked with a camera, which includes motion controls, which includes I don't care.
Also, let's not forget the share button.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
I don't know, it seems gimmicky to me.
If I don't have to hook anything up to share videos, like what is it, the Hopinod that you use? Yeah, that's $175 I don't have to spend.
Hey, you just spend it on the controller.
But it was, what was it? It was February 20th. They did a announcement, and it was a whole bunch of, look what we can do with this technology, because Square Enix decided to tease us with a game that will never be released, probably, as a tech demo. Just like they did for the PS3 with Final Fantasy VII redone for the first intro, and it looked awesome, and they never delivered, and I am sad.
Yeah.
The one thing that it's going to have for its saving grace, if the PS4 does it and does it well, is the streaming games service, which will be probably a paid service through PSN, where you can stream any game from the library, kind of like renting games from GameFly. You pay a monthly fee, you get to rent as many as you want. Now, if they do the entire PlayStation library from PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 streamed over the net onto your PS4 and emulated, I don't really care if they have backwards compatible hardware.
Exactly. If you can get it through a stream, then you don't really need to have to dig up your old discs, and God forbid if they're scratched.
And if I don't have to pay per game, I may actually use a Sony system as more than a glorified Blu-ray player.
True.
Now here's the problem. They're trying to sell the PSP Vita with this thing.
Yeah, so what is it? You can throw it as a controller now?
I'll throw it, all right.
You can do basically what the Wii U does. Take the game on the go. And really, to be honest with you, yeah, PSP Vita is the most powerful handheld system. But so is Game Gear for its time, and Game Gear kind of died off.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of trying to do too much, and also the price tag is a very, very big turnoff for most people.
It was horrible. Yeah, the stuff's cheaper now, but that's because it's not selling.
Yeah, Sony's trying to get it into homes as best they can.
It's... I don't know. We'll have to see.
But I mean, why would you need a Vita? With the whole remote play, you know, from what it looks like you can do it from a mobile or even a tablet.
You know what? I'd rather buy a Steam box at that point.
Yeah, same. Plug in any old USB controller and have this souped up little mini console that I can pretty much put in my cargo pants pocket.
Alright, on to some pony game news. Someone has made a game out of Moonstuck.
Blue blood.
Blue blood!
Sure, Egophiliac's excited.
It looks weird. It's like I don't know, it's just a scrolling panel adventure game, kind of like Hugo's House of Horrors.
Well, to be fair, that's all that the comic really was.
True, but at the same time, don't stargaze.
Oh god.
So, D-Pad, how many hard-boiled points do you have?
I haven't played the game recently, so I don't remember.
I don't have a big enough fedora for that.
Why would you want to wear a fedora?
Next game that we have on our docket is Rise of the Clockwork Stallions. It's different.
Very much so. Don't really know what to take of it, honestly. It's so out of left field, I'm really not sure.
Oh, come on. Really? Flim Flam philosophy stealing now? Really?
What? I thought it was funny.
And here's a bucket.
And here we go again, ladies and gentlemen.
Pinky's Balloon Patrol. This kind of... I don't know. It kind of reminds me of several games that I can't really put my finger on right now from Atari and Nintendo.
Yeah, it seems like one part beer tapper, one part balloon fight.
Seems more like Formula 1. Or pole position.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
Instead of dodging the balloons, you would collect them. And dodge birds. There was another trailer in this post here called Temno. I don't know what to think of that one.
It looks to be a ponification of Limbo, honestly.
It's what it looks like, but you know what? It's creepy as hell.
Well, Limbo wasn't exactly all sunshine and rainbows either. The whole noir aspect of it gave you a really kind of eerie sense of environment that was really fun.
Not to mention the spiders stabbing you through the skull.
Yeah, if I wasn't scared of spiders now, then...
You know what this calls for? A nuke from orbit.
Or Spock walking over and smashing the computer.
I just say find a place where there's no spiders.
Well, that counts Brazil out.
And Australia.
And Southwestern America.
Actually, try all of America.
If spiders get as big as your fist, there's something wrong with society.
Little bit.
Society's screwed. Speaking of screwing society, Diablo 3 is going to consoles.
Dun, dun, dun.
And guess what? They're doing what freaking Terraria did. They're making it better.
Actually, no, from the last, 3 patches of the Diablo 3 beta cycle, you could actually tell it was being redesigned to be more console-friendly.
Here's the problem. It won't support keyboard and mouse. It's designed for a controller in mind. It has no launch date yet for the consoles. And it will have an offline mode.
So basically all the things Blizzard promised us on the PC that'll never happen.
And something it does not have. It will not be balanced around that stupid idea known as the real money auction house, because I highly doubt Sony and Blizzard are going to be cooperating on a financial system for that.
Hey, you know what? I got a better idea. Hey, Chris Metzen! You!
And now the swear jar's out again.
You think we can cash this thing and get to Everfree?
Might be able to get to Japan with this much money.
True.
Okay. Speaking of vulgar displays of violence, Pony's been crossed with Metal Slug for a movie. I now want this game.
Likewise. Considering Metal Slug took up about $20 in quarters from me on any given
There's
afternoon.
something disturbing, though, thinking about that. Remember the chicken from the guy's pants?
Oh god.
So they're just gonna pull Scootle out of his pants?
I got a better question. Why is he pulling his pants?
You'd never know what happened in prison camp.
Where's this at? Kentucky? Arkansas?
Maybe they were getting more minerals for North Korea.
I don't know, you can always just trade your pants for that extra chicken wing in prison.
Yeah, and in Europe you can trade your horse for extra chicken wings. This guy is getting a new game. And it's coming to America!
Hooray!
Cue the angelic chorus.
We're not talking about Flan, okay? We're talking about Etna, because she is amazing. Like, totally.
Oh my god, are we gonna do the rest of the episode like this?
No, because I'm going to have to tell Ellie that you're trying to copy her, and then Ellie's going to backhand you.
With the ring hand.
With the ring hand. Well, D-pad, Cyberpunk 2077. All the characters are not just going to be in English.
Right. The devs were hinting at perhaps that they would be looking for VAs who didn't necessarily speak English for the game. Maybe they'd throw in a mechanic where if you don't have the right translator software for your character, you may be misinformed or have no idea what's going on whatsoever.
That sounds like a good mechanic in a way, because you got these games like LA Noire where everybody speaks perfect English.
It's a little bit eerie. Even in Mass Effect, everybody had these perfect American accents.
Except for the Elcor, because that was weird.
Reminds me a little bit of Final Fantasy X with the, what was it, the Albed primers?
That was just jumbled up. That was like Drink Your Ovaltine, except in a different language.
Something like that. But, like, that would be nice to see for once, because, I mean, aside from a few lines of dialogue in a made-up language, or occasionally you'll get a crossover between French and English, or English and Spanish, on the whole, games in America have been entirely in English, unless they're subbed, because they're imported. But to throw in something where you're going to have your character equip themselves with some kind of translator in order to get any kind of information out of a character is something new and exciting that could add a whole new gameplay element. Or if you speak the language natively anyway, you don't even have to bother.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's like, oh, I should be able to understand what everybody's saying in the game. No, you shouldn't, because everybody in the world and everybody in the galaxy doesn't speak your same language.
Unless you're in Star Trek, it doesn't work.
Go spend an afternoon in New York. Talk to everybody you see. Guarantee half of them won't know what you're saying.
Peter, you can't speak Italian just because you have a mustache.
Tu sei un pazzo, va via da qui! Sono stanco di te, ti do un pugno nella testa!
If you don't know what Tokyo Game Show is, you're missing out.
Big time.
Yeah, they had a trailer at Tokyo Game Show for a game called Remember Me.
Which is a really interesting, almost hybrid fighter game where you can build your own combos around desired effects that you want the character to have on their enemies.
Right, it's a combo building fighter, basically.
Take the fighting style out of Arkham City, mix it with the combo system out of Street Fighter, throw in some awesome glitch effects, and basically that's what you're working with here with Remember Me.
If you can remember the name of the title, we could, move on.
I think I'm getting hacked as we speak.
What is this, Ghost in the Shell?
Hey guys, it's Draco here with Bluescreen Bronies. We got an interesting interview under the way here. We got the creator of FemSpark, Journey of the Spark, FemSpark on Twitter. Major project, a full-length movie, if I remember correctly, about, 200 minutes?
That would be 3 hours and 20 minutes, 200. But no,
Oh, come on!
No, Avatar was only like 2.5 hours. That's like the minimum length for like any action movie like nowadays. But yeah, Journey of the Spark is a fan animated film based on My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, and it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. Or that's what the estimated running time is. It's an epic, to be sure.
That's still a lot of time.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty long.
And Miss Meredith, you're no stranger to us.
Yes, hello.
This is what, the third time?
Yeah, if you count the live stream that we did for Kiki.
I can't find the video for that, but that was my favorite part.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Meredith, you've been in a lot of work so far. 2012 was a good year for you.
2012 was a very, very good year for me. I mean, Silly Philly Studios was founded in 2012, and Eric contacted me in 2012 to be part of Journey of the Spark. So
yeah, just a few weeks before I left for BronyCon, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was at the start of summer, at the beginning of June. When I first met Meredith, mainly because really Journey of the Spark kind of got off of the ground mainly because Meredith accepted the request or accepted to be in the film, because at the time that Journey of the Spark was actually being developed, we only had a story. Or the concept anyway, and the script it wasn't even it wasn't even begun at the time that I was starting to cast for it. And what was going on was that it was originally supposed to be based on an audio drama that I was doing for a comedy show that I was doing, on my channel, Brony Dubs for Life. And most of the characters were going to be voiced by myself and 4 other friends of mine. But initially, we hadn't really developed enough of, enough of the material to really justify, basing it off of our comedy show. And so I decided, you know what? There's 2 seasons worth of material for Friendship is Magic. Why don't we just base it off the Friendship is Magic continuity? And so I and then from there, I was looking for voice actors and actresses, and Meredith was one of the first that I came across, and she was always she was my first choice, to be perfectly frank, because the material is really dark, it's really emotional, and I was looking. I always told myself I wanted to hire people who could actually act, and not people who could just do an imitation, and. The first thing I heard was Meredith's demo of Twilight for Fighting His Magic, and I was telling people I was telling people in a call, I really want to hire this person. It's I think she could really do it, but I was like a total nobody at the time, and I was thinking, no, I don't know if she's gonna say yes or not, because she's in one of the most anticipated projects of the community, so it's like. I was a little nervous and I was a little skeptical about whether or not I would actually get somebody like that on the project. But, I messaged her and basically said, yeah, I'm directing a movie. And she was like, oh, yeah, can you give me some more information? And I was just sitting there with a blank stare, and I was just going, really? So then it was just this huge, lengthy pitch. Basically, I pretty much gave a synopsis of the story, what I wanted to do with it, the story I wanted to tell, and and I said that it was a musical. And Meredith, if I remember correctly, you told me that one of your biggest reasons as to why you signed on the project was just the fact that it was a musical.
I wanted to sing.
Yeah, so I was like, as soon as I said it's a musical, I'm on. Get me on this project right away.
Well, that and it was a very good pitch in general.
But so
yes,
So I mean, so once Meredith had signed on. Meredith signed on to voice both Twilight and Fluttershy in the movie, and eventually. She basically said, "Oh yeah, I can help you, get some voice actors and actresses if you need them, because I know some people." And I'm like, "Really? Like who?" And then she was saying all of these really huge names. It's like, "Oh, that one guy who voiced Discord in Epic Wub Time, and then Rena Chan, and then and then all these other people." I'm like, "How the hell do you know all these people?"
I work with them.
And it was and very much, before I knew it, this huge ensemble cast just sort of started coming up all together. And it just really started getting off the ground that way. And it started attracting a lot of people. And before I knew it, the scope of the project was becoming so huge that, I initially told myself, this can't be an audio drama anymore. This needs to be a movie. It needs to be feature length. It needs to be animated. It needs to be like an official film, because the potential was just so huge that, I just couldn't pass up that opportunity. And no, but if Meredith didn't say yes, then I don't think I probably wouldn't have gotten the cast that I did. So I'm very, very thankful, to say the least.
Yes, you would have.
Well, I know if the musical thing didn't work, you could always do cookies.
Cookies?
Yes, musicals or cookies. That's how you hire me.
Cookies, or very good Fluttershy art from Spitfire.
Well, okay, then I'll have to think about that next time. Hey Meredith, I'm making another movie. Do you think you could voice for it? Well, I don't know if I have the time. Want a cookie?
They have to be the kind with the good icing sugar and yeah.
Oh, you mean the 3 boxes that I brought to Caroline Gardens?
Yes.
What are the Loft House giant sugar cookies with the It's like half cookie, half icing.
Oh
Haven't
gosh,
eaten
sugar
anything all day, and you're like, "Hey, do you want some cookies?" Yes.
I was like the Muffin Man. I just reached into my bag and pulled out a snack.
The muffin man. The muffin man. Oh man.
Just like went in my bag, pulled out like everything, and just like, oh, you want a kitchen sink? Oh, here you go.
No,
They
but
had like every food in existence on that trip.
Yeah, I sure did.
But
I mean, you guys just like answered a bunch of questions of mine. Like, I spent like a couple hours doing this, and I don't know what I don't know what exactly to say, because I was gonna like ask like, oh, a full length movie is a large project. Have you ever done anything like that before? And I scratched out one off. What gave you inspiration?
Oh well, the thing is that, well, I can answer those questions because I mean, like, you know, I only really kind of scratched the surface in terms of how it got started. You know, like where the inspiration came from, and you know things like that. Those are like completely different questions. But you know,
Right.
I was going to say, you know, beyond voice acting for the movie, Meredith's been kind of like, you know, well, I mean, like she's the head story editor on the project, so she's been helping a lot with story development and the script because you know she's a writer. So, so I mean, there's that. So a lot of the people on this movie, even the voice actors, have, you know, like they're all very integral, you know, to the project in some way, shape, or form, because they've all given their input on what they think works with the story and what doesn't, and what they initially kind of want to see, you know, happen with the film. But the initial inspiration for Journey of the Spark was it kind of came from a lot of these like really old school animated films that I grew up with when I was a kid, because I love I love movies that can, or like animated movies especially, that can really present more adult and darker themes to me, like without treating me like I'm stupid. Um, like like I love the original Disney films, like when Walt was alive. Like I love Fantasia, and Pinocchio, but then I also love movies like The Secret of Nim, and then other, like, you know, fantasy movies like Willow and The Dark Crystal. You know, like I always said to myself I wanted to make a movie like that. You know, like a much more mature and a much darker, but you know, still emotionally resonant animated film that I could present to kids without talking down to them. And I just felt that My Little Pony was, yeah, such a good fit for it, because I mean it's gone in areas like that before. I mean, Return of Harmony Part 1, Jesus, that thing is dark.
Oh yeah, it's real dark. There's darker ones after that, like the whole racial stereotyping and racial profiling of oh crap, I can't remember now. I can't remember the name of the episode. It's gonna kill me now. The one where they go against the bison.
Over a Barrel.
Over a Barrel, yes.
Yeah. And then A Candlelight Wedding presented some darker things too, and you know, and stuff like that. So you know, I always felt that it was just like a really good fit for the story that, you know, I wanted to tell, and you know, and I always wanted to you know, like when I was thinking of how I wanted to go and approach Journey of the Spark, I didn't necessarily want to make it with the Brony community or the fan base in mind, mainly because you know, my family is very looking forward to this movie, and they've never seen the show before. But the thing is that I wanted to be able to sort of make tell a story that could stand out on its own, and anybody, like universally anybody, can go and watch it and enjoy it and to get something out of it, and you know, grow, like learn to go along with the characters on the journey, and like really, you know, learn to love them, and you know, and appreciate them, you know, in terms of the way that they're written, and you know, things like that. And that always was like more important to me than, like, say, you know, like putting inside jokes or memes from, you know, the community, you know, within the story, so that way it could appeal to bronies more. But even with that said, the story has the movie makes a lot of references to the show, like a lot of them. If you've seen the past 2 seasons of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, there's a lot of references hidden within the script, and it's awesome. I'm just saying that there's a lot of great references.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, there's a major difference between a project like Reading Rainbow, or not Reading Rainbow. I'm sorry. There's a difference between a project like Double Rainbow, and Journey of the Spark, because one's a full episode, which is only about 22 minutes.
Yeah, 22 minutes.
And a full feature movie. Because there's just so much more to animate, and there's so much more to voice, so much more to put music to, so much more sound effects, editing, post-production. It's just it's an ungodly amount of task, and the amount of people you'll need for that project is so large. How can you control the chaos that is, having a team of that size to make a movie?
Well, first things first is that, like a lot of people in the community kind of get the notion that, directing a project is easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's not. It really isn't. It's one of the most stressful jobs in the movie and television industry. Meredith, I think you can vouch for me by knowing how that feels. But the thing is, because the thing is that I mean, like, having experience, like, actually directing projects prior to it. I mean, usually before Journey of the Spark came in, I used to direct everything. Kind of like, normally what it would be is that it would basically be audio drama. So I would edit everything, and I would and I would direct actors and things like that on my own. And I kind of got built up experience that way. So being able to work with people, especially people that you just absolutely despise, because, I mean, there's the saying, you can't like everybody that you work with. And oftentimes you'll come across people that you just really don't care for initially, or you don't really care for the way that they work, for their methods of work. But the thing is that in the end, a lot of people just, ultimately, at the end of the day, you kind of just really have to realize that even though there are people that you just don't really like working with, they have the best interests of the project at heart. Like they want to make sure that, like they're doing what they're doing mainly because they care about the project just as much as you do. And they only want to see it, like they only want to make sure that its quality like surpasses all of the expectations set for it. And oftentimes, I mean, like, especially when you're working on a nonprofit project like ours, we're not getting paid any of this, I mean, like, there's going to be a lot of people who feel like, they have just about as much creative freedom as you do. When you're the director and you have a specific vision, you want to hold on to that as much as you can. And oftentimes it's difficult to do that because, you are going to have people who don't necessarily agree with you. But, being able to stand your ground and being able to, express just how important it is to you is a huge thing, especially when it comes to organizing and working with a ton of people. I mean, like, this movie has literally just about 60 plus people working on it, and that's including the voice actors, like 17 voice actors, and then the rest are all, animators and artists and, post-production people and, things like that all coming together. And, even though we've had a lot of really bad conflict in the past, we all have a specific goal in mind. We're not going to stop until this movie gets out there and people get to see it. Even if we have to delay it until like 2016, if we have to delay it like, years into the future, we're not going to stop until it's actually finished and it's made. And that's a testament, to everybody working on it.
No, that's a good goal. I mean, A lot of people will just end up quitting after a while because it's not getting done. But if you keep on it, and you release a product you're proud with, then that's something you can take with you forever. Now, in case people don't understand the vastness of what 60 people is, because when you say 60 people, it's like, oh, that's 60 people. That's not that big of a number.
No, it's huge.
Okay, I've got personal experience with 65 people because that's the marching band that I was in. 60 people fits on 2 full-size school buses. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. No, and it makes it even more difficult when a lot of them are overseas in Europe. So time zones, you have to deal with that too. So you got to make sure that you're on top of that, so that way you know what time it is for people and when it's the best to contact them, and things like that. Oftentimes that can get really confusing. It can get very, very confusing.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, even within the United States, there are different time zones where people are not able to be contacted and whatnot. But when you do the broad scope of things like the world, it's even more difficult because some people are awake when you're asleep, and it's hard. Now, I got a question for you, Meredith. What is the difference between your game voicing and voicing for this movie?
Well, this movie, it's interesting because I haven't gotten to do much voicing for it yet, asides the occasional sneak peek and trailer work. But it's definitely different from game voice acting, because game voice acting, a lot of times the hardest things to do for that are like the hit noises, and really, I mean, you have those, and you have maybe if the special attacks have a name or a little catchphrase, you've got that. And then you've got like victory lines, and that's about it. With a script like Journey of the Spark, I mean, you've got like monologues and very emotional speeches where you have to dig down deep to hit that kind of tear-jerking emotion inside of you to deliver the line properly. And this script in particular has a lot of very very emotional moments for Twilight, especially. Fluttershy has some too, but Twilight has to deal with a lot of very difficult decisions and a lot of different trials. And through that, I mean, I guess when I've been helping edit the script, I've been trying to put myself in the character's shoes and trying to think, okay, how would they react to this at this given moment? And by thinking about that while I story edit, it also helps me connect as an actress for when we actually do go and we record the entire script, to get that emotion that I need to draw out of my voice. Like there are moments where Twilight is going to be angry, and there are moments where Twilight is going to be terrified. And there are moments where Twilight's going to cry, and I'm gonna have to cry. But as long as I can sustain that connection with the characters, I mean, I can really feel for what they're going through. There's a lot of very, very particular elements inside of this script that almost, I know it's weird to describe it with ponies, but it's very human in a way. It's very, it's emotions that we have to face every day, even though we don't have to face necessarily what they face in the magical land of Equestria every day. They have to face uncertainties and being afraid and things that all of us have to go through. And through that, I mean, I just have to find all of that in myself and think about the things that I'm uncertain about and the things that I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and kind of channel that, I guess, through my acting.
Well, that's a good way to look at things. I mean, personally, I would prefer a Hydra step on my front door than the Taxman.
Well, the Hydra might be easier to deal with.
Yeah.
Just a bit. I'd rather deal with the Hydra with a sword and shield than deal with the Taxman with bureaucracy and paperwork.
The Hydra might be a little bit easier to deal with, but in a way, they're the same kinds of things.
Yeah.
Big
scary terrifying things.
Exactly. And Meredith really brought up a good point in terms of the fact that, a lot of Journey of the Sparks, well, at least its themes, like what the movie's trying to say. I mean, a lot of the script was taken from very real experiences that I had through my life because I'm autistic, and a lot of a lot of my life was mainly people wrongly judging me just because of the fact that I was different. And and there were a lot of things that I grew up afraid of, and especially when it came to the uncertainty of whether or not people would actually judge me or not. And the thing is that I always wanted I wanted to, like, sort of put those type of experiences into the script for Journey of the Spark, because, well, I mean, Twilight is the character that I relate to the most. I mean, there was a point in my life when, I mean, heck, there still is a point in my life where my mom was telling me, you're spending too much time inside. You need to go outside and make some friends. But at the same time, it was like, it wasn't the fact that I didn't want to make friends. It was just, I was, I loved film, growing up so much as a kid. I loved movies. I loved watching them, and I loved learning about how to make them. And it's a passion of mine. It's a study that, I've grown to love so much. And, when it came to developing Journey of the Spark and how I was going to do it, I initially told myself, because Journey of the Spark, in its way, is kind of like a really like pseudo imagining of how I feel the entire story to the series would end. So it's kind of like an envisioning of the ultimate finale. And the way that I always pictured it is that if it's going to be the ending, Twilight has to learn the most important lesson in the magic of friendship. And ultimately the journey that she's going to have to go on through this film, the trials that she has to face, and the dangers and the uncertainty of life, that that the characters, especially her friends and her mentor, have been preparing her for this entire time, ultimately are going to have to come full circle within this story. And it's going to have to test a lot of the characters in the story, not just Twilight, but everybody in a sense. Her friends, like learning just how loyal they have to be, or how loyal they can be to Twilight, and the relationships between Celestia and Twilight as mentor and student, and even Celestia and Luna's relationship as sisters. It's like it's all explored in some way, shape, or form. I can't say anything about that because it's spoilers, obviously. But when the story was basically written out, pretty much, I was telling Meredith and just about every actor on the movie, okay, I don't want you to go into this movie just recording for it. This is the entire story. I'm going to pitch the entire story to you and tell you every nook and cranny of it, right now. And basically what I did is that I pitched the entire story to them, and I told them, learn the story back and forth, because I want you to understand the emotional connectivity that you have to have with your characters in order for you to get the right emotion. And it's difficult because it's a very complex script, and it's not lengthy, but it's very complex in its emotions and the way that it's written and the story that it's trying to tell. And hopefully, I'm hoping that I'm hoping that everything will go according to plan once we actually start recording. But I have a lot of faith in everybody that we've cast on the movie, and I think they're all going to do an amazing job.
All right, now going on to the talent part of it, you have assembled a lot of talent, mainly because it's a large movie, but is this large project requires a lot of talent. You have a lot of people working under you right now. Would you say that you're happy with the amount and quality of talent you have at your disposal? Right now?
I couldn't necessarily say in terms of animators and artists. We could definitely expand, but in terms of the actors and in terms of who we have on the project right now, just in terms of people who are working on it already, they're fantastic in terms of their talents. Like, just look up any of the concept art that we have related to the project, and you'll see some amazing stuff. Like literally, the people who work on this are fantastic at what they do, and and I'm surprised that I've gotten as many people following me on this crazy adventure to begin with, because it's such an ambitious project, and I literally did not think at first that anybody was going to follow me on it, because movie projects in the past within the community never got off the ground, and some of them aren't really making a lot of progress, and yet for some reason ours is kind of like the little engine that could, kind of, in a way. It's still getting a lot of steam going for it, but it has a lot of legs to it, ultimately, because everybody involved, not just myself, but everybody, I speak for everybody when they say that it's something that means everything to them. It means the world to them, and they want to see it get made. And that was probably the most shocking and surprising thing I think I ever got from starting this project.
Since we're coming down to the last bit of the interview here, I just want to go ahead and let you guys have a little time to plug whatever you want. Eric, we'll start with you.
Okay. So for anybody wanting to find out more about Journey of the Spark, they can follow the production blog that I run on Tumblr. That's filmsparkmovie.tumblr.com. Filmsparkmovie, that's all lowercase. So FIM and then Spark Movie. And then if you guys want to find out more about the project, we have a wiki page on the My Little Pony fan wiki now, apparently. Somebody actually wrote a Wikipedia article on that, on the My Little Pony fan wiki, so you can find out all the stuff about that. Like who's starring in the project and things like that. There's a ton of voice actors and actresses. And then you can also look up Journey of the Spark on YouTube, and you'll find our YouTube page there as well. Also, look forward to summer this year, because I know that Meredith and I and various other people are going to be promoting the movie at some of the really big pony conventions. I'm going to be going to Everfree Northwest, Pwn3Con, and I'm going to be hosting a panel at BronyCon this August. Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I hope to be at Everfree Northwest as well. I'm hoping to drag Meredith there in a suitcase.
The only way I'm going to be able to get there is if you find a magical ticket that pays for everything and gets me off of work.
Magical ticket? Well, I don't have a magical ticket, but I can definitely rig up a giant suitcase that we can say has equipment in it, and make it padded with a television, a refrigerator, snack bar.
I can. Meredith, for some reason, I can imagine when you finally get to Everfree Northwest, they open up the suitcase and you just pop up like Pinkie Pie style. Confetti and streamers just like pop out of it. It's just like, hello!
Hello! Like,
I think if you were like, shut the door, I'm still watching this.
Oh, man. Well, I actually do have to run. But if I can say, I will be at BronyCon with Journey of the Spark. And I will also be there with Silly Philly Studios. We are doing a panel. We're teaming up with Brony State. They're going to interview us about animation. So that should be interesting. So yeah, watch out for anything that has Journey of the Spark or Silly Philly Studios on the label, because whatever it is, it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this interview. Kind of surprised me that you approached us for this, because we're usually a game podcast, but you know what? We're bronies too, so.
Hey, any sort of publicity is publicity in my eyes, Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Meredith. I'm sorry, but it's not Disney World.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just good. It's all good.
And Eric, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. It was my pleasure.